DancingMoto is an interesting content creator that I filmed way back in March.
Bust a move for him. Bust a move. Show him what you got. Yeah, look at him go, dude.
DancingMoto is a dancing motorcycle content creator. As in, he sets up a tripod, dances in front of his bike, posts it on TikTok, Instagram, and makes money from these sounds that he uses. Way back, I think in March, I filmed a video with him. I drove down to North Carolina. I took my Panigale V4. And while I was there in North Carolina, I had a moment that kind of changed my life. Now, while I was doing the oil change on my Panigale V4, you know, it's quite the arduous journey to change the oil on one of those bikes. I had a little 12-year-old kid come up and help me with the oil change. Now that whole video is up on YouTube, but from that point on, I started to realize the effect that you can have as a person that posts online, the effect that you can have, the influence, dare I say, that you can have on the younger generation. I started being a lot more careful of what I put out into the world and what I do and what I say. I had a lot of these revelations while I was out in North Carolina. Speaking to DancingMoto, who is an emerging content creator, such as myself, you know, here's this kid, he has this dream, he wants to make content, he wants to own the really cool fast bikes, and was asking me, I think his perception that I was slightly ahead of him in that goal, he was asking me for advice on what to do. And at the time, I don't have any problem with dancing content. I think a lot of people do for the wrong reasons. I think it's a solid way to make an income on these platforms with short form content. So I told DancingMoto at the time, don't be afraid to be yourself. If other people are hating on what you're doing, you might probably be doing the right thing. During the time, he told me that he was already in trouble for running from the cops one time. You know, he already had some instances where he was in trouble with the law before. And I gave him the advice that if you're gonna be in this game, if you're going to be posting yourself online, I think a lot of bikers have this perception that you just have to run from the cops because that's just what that's part of the culture. I told him to not be a part of that culture. If you're gonna do this, if you're going to post yourself online and make it very easy for the cops to find you and know who you are, you can't be doing the stupid stuff. Did he listen to my advice? No. Did he seem to learn anything from our conversations that we had together? No. And so that's why I'm making this video today, DancingMoto. I really hope you don't take this video as me just coming at you. I am coming at this a little harshly, I understand that, but as someone who's met you, had conversations with you, has texted you, I want you to look at this as, I got a little brother. I'm looking at this as older brother looking down the little bro. You didn't listen to me the first time. So this is my second shot of trying to reach you. If I had you right here in person, I wish I had you right here in person. I want to pick you up. I just want to shake you. I just want to be like, what the hell is wrong with you? What is going through your brain that you're running from the cops in the rain, allegedly GSP, with no gear on, and with an alleged stolen plate? With all of that being said, I want to show the video of DancingMoto's crash. How I got this video was from Reddit. I don't know what was going through your brain that you shared this with people. This is a whole other issue. Like, why are you taking a video of yourself running from the cops and then sharing it to everybody that you know after you got caught? It had like 3 million views when I saw it on Reddit, I think, the first time. So the video's out there, but I just want to show it here just for my video's purposes so we know what we're looking at. Okay, I have to pause it right here because I don't want to show what happens after this. I think it's kind of implied that he gets ran over by this massive SUV right here. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. It looks like the cop either deliberately, I hope not deliberately, or in the most likely case, just lost control in the rain and hydroplaned into DancingMoto's sliding body. It's not good. I think we can all agree on a standpoint that this is not right. A cop ramming into the body of, I think, an 18 or 19-year-old kid, even though he's making a stupid decision by running from the cops, I think it's a little excessive. I think we can all agree on that. I saw a lot of comments on Reddit of people just completely clowning this kid, telling him that he deserves it, like running from the cops, you know, F around, find out. And I get that point of view, and I'll get to that talking point, but I think we can all agree 18 or 19-year-old kids should not be ran over by an 8,000-pound SUV. That's just that's a fair agreement. Whether it was an intentional act or not, should not have happened. Now, everything that led up to this moment and everything that's happened after has been a direct consequence of DancingMoto's actions. That is also something I think we should all be able to agree on. This is a completely unavoidable act, and everything that came after it is also entirely unavoidable. Now, from what I've collected from DancingMoto's friends and people that know him, that kind of like know the events and what DancingMoto has been saying. Now, what happened with the chase no one really knows why the chase started. What I do know is the man is rocking stolen plates from another content creator called Lane. Now, Lane is a different genre of motorcycle content creator, I'll just say. You know, she got the big old personalities. Whatever. I mean, she's doing her thing. I'm not gonna, again, it's the same thing about dancing stuff. I don't really care personally, as long as she's, whatever, doing her thing. But apparently him and her were together for a little bit, and he stole her plates for whatever reason and thought it was a good idea to run them. She probably marked them as stolen because I guess they're not on the best terms right now. And perhaps that's why the chase started. Regardless, whatever he was running from probably would have just been a ticket, especially considering that man was rocking a Yamaha R7. For those who don't know, that thing is an 80 horsepower, barely considered a sport bike. It's hard enough, running on bikes like these, let alone a bike that only tops out at like 130 miles an hour. Ridiculous. I don't know what was going through his brain on that one. I think running from the cops is stupid. Let's get that out of the wind. But running on an R7 is even stupider. Not to mention, also running in the rain, you couldn't pay me to try to get away from any level of cops in the rain, let alone he's running from what he says was Georgia State Patrol. Now, if you watch the video closely, it doesn't look like Georgia Highway State Patrol. Kind of looks like a sheriff's department and another municipal city police. He's also claiming that they pitted him. There's no pitting action in the video either. What the cops are doing is something, I think it's called closing, where they kind of they try boxing in the biker, and it looks like DancingMoto again tries to dodge him, but either because of the rain or because of his own lack of skill, can't dodge a giant SUV, whacks it and goes down. Now, obviously what came after, the cop running him over, that's a little bit less ideal, but again, entirely avoidable. If DancingMoto hadn't chosen to run from the cops in the first place, he would not have been in this position where he was on the ground wearing nothing but a compression shirt and some leather pants. Actually, I still follow him on Instagram. We're still mutuals. I'm not going to unfollow him over some stupid actions that I think he's still redeemable. It's not like he's forever forgotten in this grand scheme of story we call life. But he posted this on his Instagram notes. But I was wearing gear. No, the fuck you were not. Buddy was wearing a compression shirt with no gloves, a pista, and leather pants. Granted, I give you the leather pants on that one, but bro, you should be dressing for the slide, not the ride. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna be doing stupid stuff like that, at least, you should probably be wearing proper gear, like some tracksuit or something. Bro was set up to quick draw a dance video or something like that. I never even consider riding without gloves, bro. That is just the dumbest decision, and that's beyond me. I'm not the best. I'm not the shining example, the shining knight of wearing motorcycle gear all of the time. But my God, if you're gonna be doing stuff like that, you gotta be geared up. I don't know what that was about. And then trying to follow it up by saying that you're wearing gear. What the fuck are you doing? What level of denial are we at that you have to defend that you're wearing gear when it's so clear in the video that has 3 million views on Reddit that the fuck you were not? I'm saying this out of older brother love here, brother. I love you. I want the best for you. But it's the same case. My little brother came home and was like, I ran from the cops wearing no gear. I love you. I want the best for you.
I also want to tell DancingMoto, I feel really annoyed that I have to do this on a school day. A lot of this is made worse by what DancingMoto did after he crashed. I think it's bad enough seeing the reactions of people just watching DancingMoto's crash. A good chunk of people are watching his crash being like, F her out and find out. Ran from the cops, hit the police officer, and yes, unfortunately got hit wrongfully by an SUV, but that comes with the risk of running. If you don't want risky things to happen to you, as I've said on my page in the past, don't put yourself in risky situations. Now, if this is just personally, if this is all what happened to him leading up to now, I still think that there's a little bit of sympathy to be shown for him. It sucks, but I would be remiss if I didn't make the same kind of mistakes that he made when I was 18 or 19. I cannot tell you the plethora of stupid things that I've done when I was 18 or 19, and I imagine it would only have been made worse if I had social media money back when I was that age. I'm fortunate now. Yes, I have social media money, but I'm also, a little bit of frontal cortex, and things have happened not only to myself, but others around me, and I've had enough cognitive recognition, pattern recognition, to be like, hey, maybe I should watch myself before bad things happen to me. But, my youngins, that's not where the story ends, unfortunately. After everything that happened to DancingMoto, yes, it sucks, it's terrible. The dude made a GoFundMe. DancingMoto is shifting the consequences of his actions from being onto himself and pushing that weight onto the weight of his viewers. If he truly is riding a motorcycle, making motorcycle content without having health insurance, unbelievably stupid, number one. Number two, he chose to do the stupid acts, especially the egregious acts of running from the cops in the rain on an R7 with a stolen plate, and then also finally chose to make a biker GoFundMe to help to make his viewers pay for the consequences of his actions. If anybody is going out of their way to donate, the only like reasonable reason to donate to his GoFundMe, I'm not gonna link it here because I still stand on this. The only reasonable response I saw to it was someone on Reddit posted a comment that was like, you know, it's a terrible thing to have happen. It looks like, you know, he's a victim of over policing, and you know, if you can make the case that the cop deliberately ran him over on purpose, yeah, possibly there is a case there for police brutality. But from what we know at this point, we don't know what happened to the officer. If he lost control, hydroplaned because he was forced to go crazy speeds in the rain chasing a biker. You know, you could argue that like speeding on a motorcycle isn't a real crime, but we also don't know the reason why the cops were chasing him in the first place. Regardless, as the law is defined in the law, if you're running, that is a felony eluding charge. You are committing a felony, the same as like holding up a store with a gun. Maybe you disagree with it, but that's what the law is defined. If you don't like the law, the right thing to do isn't to hop on your motorcycle and start running from the cops and a weird sense of protest. Maybe I suggest getting into politics so you can change the law, but the laws are kind of set up to try to at least appease the majority of people, and unfortunately, from a biker's perspective, the majority of people are not going to agree with you when bikers are running from the cops. The majority of people think that's criminal activity, and whatever happens, they deserve. And unfortunately, that was a reflective of what we saw in those Reddit comments. Now, personally, I don't think that felony eluding should be as harsh as it is, and he certainly shouldn't have been knocked off his bike for it. But again, if you watch the video, it kind of looks like he hit the cop, not so much the cop hit him. It's a hard case, I understand. I'm somewhere in the middle personally, but I'm trying to look at this from like both sides of the argument here. Because you have people like my parents who talk to me. I talk to my parents on a regular basis. They're like 55, bro. They look at that case of a kid running from the cop and they're like, wow, like, like he kind of asked for it. While a good chunk of bikers would look at that and be like, wow, like I don't want that to happen to me. That's horrible. You know, personally, if DancingMoto didn't make the GoFundMe, I would argue it's a little bit easier to make a case that the kid made a stupid decision. You know, perhaps this is what he needed as a little wake-up call that, like, you know, might get a little bit of jail time, he got hit by a cop, maybe there'd be a lawsuit involved, maybe. We don't know yet. But I still think it would be a lot easier to make a case that he can potentially learn from his mistakes until he made that GoFundMe. Because now all he's going to do is just get a bailout, a large chunk of cash. You know, the GoFundMe is already starting to get a good, solid amount of cash flow. All he's doing is just collectively writing off the consequences of his mistakes by letting his viewers bail him out. And unfortunately, he's not the only biker that I want to talk about today doing the same thing. DancingMoto, you know, I still follow him. I still keep tabs on him while he's in this little recovery journey. DancingMoto also posted another biker dealing with problems from an accident. Here we have another biker named Cypher. This guy was known for a video in the middle of the summer it was like a little edit of a song. It was a TikTok that blew up. It got like 20 million views or something like that. This guy actually DM'd me over the summer and was asking me for advice on how to deal with hate. You know, he said he looked up to what I do, and I told him, hey bro, like, do what makes you passionate. Don't listen to what anybody has to say. And this guy, you know, once again, I didn't give him a huge list of advice, but once again, I feel like I was just completely and utterly ignored and my advice was written off. Because what does this dude do as well, as you just saw, based off of the description that he gave on his social media? He went out, rode his bike, no gear other than a helmet, hit some gravel, and due to lack of skill, most likely, wrecked out on his bike, got some minor road rash and some scrapes. You know, it looks like his helmet took the brunt of the work, but the dude's got a little bit of road rash, you know, nothing too crazy. Actually, I'm gonna pull off for this. I got a little bit of time. I'm not gonna be late or nothing, Mom, I swear. Bro is acting like road rash is like the worst thing in the world, like it's going to change his life forever. Brother, that's what my road rash looks like a year later. You get scars. By riding motorcycles, you're going to get scarred up. You're probably going to wreck a few times. It's going to happen in your life. You know, my accident last year on the V4 probably ain't going to be the last bad thing that's ever going to happen to me. I'm sure my time is coming again, but making a biker GoFundMe to pay for your road rash and probably a concussion based off of the things that happen in your helmet. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing on biker social media, on Bike Talk, YouTube, whatever? Why are we in a place where bikers feel the need to have their mistakes written off by... I mean, the brother wasn't wearing gear. You get what you deserve. You get a little bit of road rash. You know, I'm not saying you deserve to die, but if you choose not to wear gear and you crash, you're gonna get road rash. That's the consequences of your actions. You don't get to get a bailout check from your followers. The majority of people on motorcycle social media are on the younger side because people who own motorcycles usually aren't watching motorcycle content. If you are, hey, I appreciate you. You're really cool. I would argue the majority of people watching motorcycle content are younger. It's a predatory behavior, betting on people who are too young and dumb enough to donate to you to bail you out for your mistakes because you're too dumb to ride right and wear proper gear. It irritates me to see people that clearly want to do the right thing, but time and time again do the complete opposite. What makes them so stupid? Why do they do it? If it sounds like I'm like a little annoyed by everything, it's possibly because I have to say all of this while on my way to school. I have to go sitting lecture now for 2 hours. I'm not not excited about this. You know, I was talking to Jixabra, like the dude that, you know, laying in the hospital from his own motorcycle crash. He was saying that he's coming out of retirement to make a video about this. That's how egregious all of this is. You know, in my research to find all of this out, to like look at DancingMoto's GoFundMe, it turns out this is actually his second time making a GoFundMe. It's just his first time way back when he wrecked a ZX-10. You know, his first GoFundMe wasn't as viral, so of course it didn't do so well. I didn't know that back then he made an original GoFundMe to help him raise money for an older bike. Wish I had known that a little bit sooner before I first started filming videos with him way back in March. And on top of that, on top of everything, you know, up to this point, if you're still like on the fence a little bit, if you're like, oh, you know, GoFundMe, you know, he didn't have health insurance, healthcare in America costs a lot of money. I don't personally agree with you because I think that riding a motorcycle without health insurance is unbelievably stupid, but maybe you still feel that way. On top of all of that, bro used ChatGPT to write his freaking GoFundMe, bro. I cannot believe it. Are we really at a place where we're like little content creators on social media? We garner a little audience just to write off our mistakes, and we can't even put a little bit of heart and soul into writing a GoFundMe. Now I have to go to crash, sit in lecture for 2 hours, interrupting my rant, and I'm gonna forget everything. You know, there's a very similar story that right after I got done hanging out with DancingMoto for the first time, after I saw the type of kid that he was and how much he really, I remember him talking nonstop about wanting to own a BMW S1000RR. He has a couple of dreams that he doesn't really talk about too much. I kind of wish he did. And you know, I was hopeful for him. I was like, you know, it's a BMW S1000RR. It's a pretty attainable dream bike. And something I made a video in the past talking about is my disappointment on how only a few weeks after I got done filming a video with him, he turns around and starts posting on the Spicy page. You know, just a kid, 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid, whatever. He's setting up an account on the Blue Only Friends page and starts posting on there in order to sell pictures of himself on the internet. Now, I've stated before, like, I have nothing against that if that's someone's dream. Like my buddy CJ out in California, he does that stuff. I'm still friends with him. I don't see anything wrong with he does it because that was his dream as a kid. He wanted that lifestyle. He wanted to post and show photos of himself on the internet. That's not personally what I want to do, but if that's someone's dream and they want to pursue it, then by all means, go ahead. But DancingMoto started doing it because he wanted fancier toys. He wanted more expensive items. So he took the cheapest and easiest path in order to do so. And not only did he do all of that, now that he's down and out, having problems of his own, he's so quick to just turn around and make a GoFundMe in order to nullify his actions. Goodbye, school. Thank you for the important lesson today. Now, I get there's probably going to be a few people out there who are like, Matthew, like, he's still in the hospital. Like, why? He's in critical condition. He could be. Why are you making this video now? He stated that he's in critical condition. He made a post being like, my heart, we don't know what's going on with my heart. And I just have to say, based off of my personal interaction with the hospital and especially Jixabro's interaction with the hospital, when someone is truly in critical condition, when someone is truly hurt, like Jixabro had 2 broken legs, internal bleeding, all that jazz, when you're sitting there worried about internal bleeding and if you're gonna die or not, you're not sitting there making social media posts. You're not sitting there making Instagram notes saying that you were wearing gear, even though clearly, plain as day, you were wearing nothing but leather pants. When your life's truly in danger, you realize real quick the social media stuff ain't really all that. You're not sitting there writing AI-generated GoFundMes. Yes, I'm sure he's hurt. Getting hit by an 8,000-pound SUV is going to hurt real bad. But I think there's a possibility here he might be overselling his injuries based upon his past actions and his current actions. You know, he has a financial incentive to try to make his story seem as sad as possible so people donate to his GoFundMe. But like I said at the start of this video, I genuinely want the best for the kid. Please don't take it as like I'm just trying to come after him, list every single bad thing about him. Like, I genuinely think the internet likes a comeback story. I think there is room for redemption here. How that's going to be done, I think that's going to be up to DancingMoto, but But I just really hope from this point going forward, the kid starts thinking a little bit more and starts making better decisions. You know, in the chance that DancingMoto ends up suing the police department that ran him over, and he ends up getting a massive bailout from the cops, and, you know, returns the GoFundMe money that he got, you know, there might be a little path to redemption there. I don't know. Overall, I'm glad the kid's alive, and I'm glad his mistakes didn't take him off this planet, but they very well could if he continues to go down this path. I hope you feel better, dude, and I hope to see you again one day. Till then, heal up quick. Keep your head up. Man, you really shouldn't admit to crimes on the internet either. It's a whole other segment we can get into, but I'll let you guys go. See you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.